Good evening. We are BoomerRexTonight, and we're back from our day off. Hope y'all enjoyed your Thanksgiving as much as we did, and hope y'all stayed safe on Black Friday, which is today for us. Yesterday for you. Now, let me introduce Mr. Boomer Rex himself.
Are we somebody other than Boomer Rex during the day? I guess we are.
Where do you go when we sleep? Where do we go when we sleep?
Yeah.
And asshole.
Hi, the internet.
And I am RisenLadyHeathen. Tonight, let's dig right in with some pandemic conspiracy theories.
Yeah, what was fun about this one was the recognition, which I think we all sort of vaguely had, but this was said nicely. Right? We all tend to treat conspiracy theories like another, bullshit misinformation. 30,000 dead from the, right, whatever. Mm-hmm. The horse shit over the COVID-19 vaccines and so on. That's just standard misinformation, right? Mm-hmm. But what's different about conspiracy theories is that people are absolutely convinced that they know the hidden truth, that what's going on in the world is being controlled by some evil conspiracist.
Yeah, right.
And
it's the difference between a delusion versus a hallucination.
Yeah.
A hallucination you can be aware of. A delusion you will absolutely, right, the nurses are stealing your pills or whatever.
Yeah.
Right, they're fully in it. They're putting fluoride in the water.
Yeah. And so the point is that those spread more readily because people have this secret knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
And
who doesn't want to know?
That's actually right.
Hey, the internet, you want to know a secret? Yes, you do. Your whole brain was like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, tell me a secret. But anyway, it makes it more compelling, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's harder to deal with.
And underwrites not showing it to your friend that does all the annoying, let's Google that shit up and see.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait.
Well, and if you go look at the conspiracy theories like on YouTube, the problem with arguing with them rationally is that what's there is not rational, right? There is no logical thread through what they're saying because there's no logical thread through what they believe.
Yeah.
But they'll keep playing it back to you and say, don't you see how this is connected? The sky was blue today, so, JFK Jr. will reappear in the Dealey Square tomorrow because blue was his color.
And you can't explain to them that the sky has been blue for a very, very long time and will remain so for...
And you've made 4 completely unrelated statements
the same,
and then claimed you drew some conclusion from those.
The same as if you mispronounce some things, you can identify who was the Russian nonsense artist that they killed the living shit out of, Rasputin.
Oh,
not Nostromo, brain.
Nostradamus?
Yes. Nostromo's the fucking shit from Aliens, brain. God damn it. I'm gonna stab you with a Q-tip.
Must be your problem. I didn't have that problem because I didn't know the other word. So,
yeah.
Well, brain name.
Nostromos?
Yeah. That's the name of the ship in the original Alien movie.
Oh, all right.
Anyway, so yes, Nostradamus. Also, if you mispronounce several things and don't know a lot about history, some of that could seem related. The Bible Code kids, there's a lot of this.
Yeah.
They're literally the second biggest selling variety of books outside of self-help.
Yeah. I absolutely guarantee you, if you take a good AI and the Bible...
Don't shut up. Yeah.
And tell it the story you want, it'll find it.
That would actually be funny. I want to see that AI run up against Jack and Jill.
Oh, that'd be because Jack and Jill's probably not long enough.
Fair shit, but no.
You can make a version of Jack and Jill that is long enough.
Maybe.
Anyway, the internet. Yeah. No, these follow the same recipe. It's the
I'll Google around.
Almost always step 2 is telling you about a part of history you're not real firm in because you're American probably, and we didn't do history real good for us.
Yeah.
You had to go out and look hard, but. No, or I look for the keywords. They're channeling somebody. No, I don't trust mediums for history lessons.
Yeah. So, anyway, but that is why the conspiracy theories spread so readily, is this appeal to what is effectively a higher power.
Yeah. You want to be in the cool kids club. Everyone does.
Absolutely.
Now, do we want to lead this into we have a couple of QAnon discussions tonight, since conspiracy theories and QAnon are
and it takes place against
related.
the backdrop where the U.S. government's done some sketcy shit.
Agreed.
And all governments have, but
The U.S. is the only one we care about currently.
So are we talking about the little QAnon civil war?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
start with the Civil War.
I love that. So,
I can say Civil War.
Kyle Rittenhouse publicly accuses Linwood of having taken advantage of him, and there's 2 million, and the whole thing. And I'm sorry, what it looks to me like is if you took, an old, what were they called? The machines with the paddles and the pinball machines.
I know.
Yeah, I must be getting senile. All I could think of was the paddle ball. Anyway, if you took one of those, right, and you get it all set up, and you take one of the little steel balls and just throw it into it,
Yeah.
right, then you see this reaction and all this noise and light and blinky shit and so forth.
Yeah. Like a
And
better
that-
variant of the pachinko machine.
Yeah, and that's what Kyle Rittenhouse did, and now they're just bouncing off each other, and they're deciding each other are satanic. And
So that's
it's
actually
wonderful.
an interesting way to look at it that I haven't done probably recently. No, this is sectarian schism in a growth medium that doesn't. It's religion, but it's not religion. Like it's not one of the ones we have to be nice about. So they're fracturing off, right? The Linwood kids have to go with Linwood because obviously he's the one because he just like spit on fucking I'm not gonna call him General Flynn brain. Keep looking. Anyway,
Michael
Flynn.
And now I
About
feel
the
that.
sevenfold things, and that's bad because that's somehow satanic. Because obviously Linwood would know somehow magically.
Oh yeah, just it's wonderful to watch.
Well, God
And,
has come down and spoken to him and told him the truth.
Yeah, it's just interesting that like I said, you get to watch the formation of sectarian schism in a non-sectarian environment.
Yep. No, kind of fun to watch. I think the other thing that may be operating here, right, is the shortage of resources.
Yes.
Right. I think they're getting tribal in an environment where America has just
Convinced
they're
them
just done with the big lie.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well,
so the
and, yeah.
money's drying up. And,
But they've taken. This is the worst part of it. Is they have made that leap, but all of their educational background on it, right, came from the people who they don't trust anymore. So either they have to throw it out wholesale, which we've seen, right, the ones who are looking all lost and damned, and we're off to find JFK and maybe JFK Jr. in Dallas right after they die or something.
whatever.
Tragic. Or
There'll be a new conspiracy.
or they've bought into the economic argument that it's a zero-sum game, and that leads to somebody in their basement making a virus that kills everybody. Guys, that's a real bad model and demonstrably not true.
Absolutely. No, but anyway, it's fun to watch, and that was one of the big things Mike Lindell was doing this weekend was starting a new Defend Mike Lindell, right?
Yeah.
Because some of these people are gradually waking up to the fact that they've been sued for $1 billion.
Yeah, that's a
And
lot of zeros.
They're
The internet.
probably going to lose in court. And
Their lawyers are like, I don't know, you're going to get $1 billion, boss. Your
but
holdings
you're
aren't
gonna
that.
lose.
Yeah.
so,
Do you have any, can you sell blood still?
I find it funny that when you go to Mike Lindell's main page, like the My Pillow page, he hasn't updated it since before the August rally that he did.
Oh.
So he didn't even have the new thanks-a-thon up on there or anything. It was crazy.
Yeah, internet, we've been watching that.
We keep checking
log.
in every now and again.
I don't know if
when
either
we're
of you have
bored,
stories out of it.
but it's
I assume that's where the
terrible.
30,000 virus dead came from. I mean, that came from the IVIS system, but I recently heard that number bandied about on the Thanks-a-thon.
Yeah. And of course, it's total bullshit.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's the loudest microphone ever. They really are putting...
Yeah. Sooner or later, we're going to get a dangerous variant.
See, internet, what I should do is talk about the Khmer Rouge's head of propaganda, except like 8 people would know who I'm talking about. No, it's the one who sounds like a turkey brain. That's what you're going to give me? Gorbles? Gobbles?
Gribbles.
Yes. My brain was certain it was gobbles, and I'm like, you fucker.
He wasn't Khmer Rouge.
No, but I hate the fact that all of the easy and good references are Nazis, because I really did grow up on a time in the internet where when you said that they're Nazis, you just gave up loudly. Like,
Yeah.
I'm taking my ball and going home.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about QAnon and Mike Lindell, let's go on to Mike Lindell and QAnon. Bad at keeping promises.
Oh yeah, no, and again, this should be, this should be read once a week, right? Because they keep doing this shit.
If
So-
I keep having to read about them, yeah, no, they deserve.
Yeah, remember
Tiny bit of scorn.
originally, January 20th was the day that Trump would be declared the actual winner, and everybody would, all the Democrats
The
would go to
19th
prison, and
legitimate
the
president
night of
and-
the long knives would start, and not so
No,
much.
they don't advertise the Night of the Long Knives.
And then, yeah, but that's what it would have been.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah, okay. I'm just looking for the historical comparison. So, then the next one was March the 4th, because that's the real inauguration day.
Oh, yeah.
And it was.
Real one, as
It was the
opposed
one that was in the Constitution, and it was changed by the 25th, I believe, amendment. Anyway, so, that comes and goes, and you think at some point, they'd begin to wonder about the people who were telling them these dates. And then, of course, the next one was March the 20th, when,
So
they're,
these dates feel like they're getting closer together all of
Yeah.
a sudden.
Well, you have to. There's actually a timeline on these, and I'm trying to remember who did it. You can see that these groups, like we've studied these groups before, because they've existed throughout
Yeah.
all of human history. There's always someone saying, "I saw weird lights in the sky. We're all going to die next Thursday."
Yeah.
And that's all this is. But as you fail, you begin to have to get closer, so they stay tuned.
Yeah. Now, then they did March the 20th, right? So, that was that's a quarterback fake, right?
Yes.
They didn't know what to say, but August the 13th came and went, and Donald Trump still not the president. So, and then now finally November the 25th, when the Supreme Court was supposed to decertify the election and declare Donald Trump yeah, right. Anyway, so sorry guys, just can't help.
Well, and
And,
again, there's no legal standing for any of this.
Yeah,
None of this, there's no legal standing after somebody has been, put in as president
Yeah.
for somebody else to say,
Right.
no, it was me,
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter at this point. This other person's already the president, and that's just what we're fucking going with,
Yeah.
no matter what you think.
There's no constitutional provision
Yes,
whatsoever.
that was the words I was looking for.
So-
Thank you very much, sir.
At some point, though, you have to ask yourself, well, how dumb are they? Right? So in March, 29% of Republicans believed that Donald Trump was going to resume the presidency. Yeah.
Again, there's
And in
no
early
This is
November,
why polling is breaking.
28% of Republicans believed. So, these people have been lied to so many times, and they're just camped out on the lie. They love it. And
And this is why polling is coming apart as a job. People are going to answer that question with whatever they're supposed to answer is. But no, none of that's good. Right? I'm less surprised at them circling the wagons and sticking to good messaging, right? When talking to anyone, let alone a pollster.
right.
I'm more concerned about the 41% of Biden voters think it's time to play my bat, your ball, and divide into a country that will absolutely go to war over border clashes.
True.
so anyway, Mike Lindell is all hung up on the, it's the rhinos in the Republican Party who are preventing him from restoring Trump to his lawful throne. And so Ronna McDonald, head of RNC, made a statement 3 days before, probably 5 days now, before the Lindell started his nonsense. And she said, Biden won. And he's going, well, why would she do that? This just 3 days before, and this was supposed to go to the Supreme Court, and why is she doing this? And she's doing it. Right, Mike Lindell, I can explain it to you really simply. He doesn't know your name. And she really doesn't care what you're doing. And so she said, she was asked a question, she answered the question, and it never crossed her mind that you were even alive. So, anyway, you are the floor sweepings, my boy.
Oh no, he was always gonna be.
Oh yeah, no.
No, you can look at his little comeback story, and it's the standard redemption arc.
Yeah.
I'm not denying any of that or ragging on him for it. It's just there's very few people who can actually make just that jump, right? Even Ben Carson, right, went and actually became a surgeon. Right, you have to do more to be able to sell that book. Like his redemption arc was good for a pillow company.
So anyway, it's still going on. I think it's going to go on all through the weekend. So if you want to hear some just nonsense about the internet,
Don't listen too long.
It'll rot your brain.
It'll start like bleeding,
Well,
causing your ears to bleed.
Again, that's what I've been enjoying about the part well, not enjoying, but no, it's this. What's the opposite of a star-studded cast? It's exactly who lacks the gift of gab to run the scam they're trying to run. Right,
Well,
they can't do the televangelist because they're not that personable.
Yeah.
No, and it's funny because that guy I was talking about the other day that sometimes will cover parts of this sort of thing hasn't even touched it because I think at this point he's like, this is just so crazy.
Ridiculous.
It's not worth my time to discuss it.
Well, and
Then there are 12 people listening, right?
and it's
Or
the
whatever.
longest infomercial for My Pillows because every once in a while they come out with a new code so you can get whatever percentage off. And no, it's I don't know. It's like when PBS holds their horrible telethons, only somehow so much worse.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's going to go on till Sunday, right? So you can always tune in. And of course, one of his first guests was talking about the internet and so forth, and pointed out that voting machines are not connected to the internet.
Yep.
Period.
And so you'd have to
So
put
all
boots
this
on the ground
nonsense
and
about
all
a
in one
server in, you
Yeah.
know,
Belarus,
Portugal or wherever it was, and this is all bullshit.
Oh yeah,
It's
no,
completely
all of that.
irrelevant.
I love it because all of that was nonsense thrown together in a weekend
Yeah.
to provide supporting evidence to the Delta Force raid in Germany, where the
Right.
head of the CIA, like, I would not start a fight with the head of the CIA because I don't want her to call people to throw me in the back of a van, but I don't think she's gonna do it. Like,
Yeah. Well, wasn't she supposedly killed in that raid? And of course,
Replaced
she's
with
not
a
dead.
robot or something? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, I hadn't thought. Replaced with a robot. That's
I know that's what they're always saying about what's her name,
Yeah.
the Avril Lavigne human.
Oh my God. So anyway, it's amusing for a few minutes, and then it starts to kill brain cells, and you should probably wander away.
And it's just sad because at some level, I know there is someone in a room, right, lit by a screen like I am, who is just glued to this because this, whatever they're hearing,
is
I'm
the
not.
truth.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure there's people that are falling asleep listening to it, letting it seep into their fucking unconsciousness and
The
just
thought of that.
fucked up.
And I mean, I listen to junk sci-fi when I'm going to bed. Like,
Right,
there's
but
space
like-
marines and all sorts of nonsense
Yeah.
going on in my head, but not this.
I don't think it
Not
actually
like that.
goes in. Does anybody know? Okay.
It
I don't think so.
During the process
Otherwise,
of-
we'd have sleep learning, and we don't.
Yeah, during the process, yeah, all of those studies are skewed because they were also studying the thing the other time. So, no, when you go to sleep, you eventually your brain just breaks it down to concepts. So it's the same. You lose track of the words, and your brain just starts making up stories. And if you try, you can tell that's not the words they're saying, brain. But it's that warm feeling, like in a dream when you turn the corner and you're somewhere else, and your brain's like, "It's cool, bro. Don't worry."
Yeah.
He's totally named Gobbles. Asshole brain.
Anyway, kind of spelled.
I know. That's the really. It's like you should have some more gravy. Like then you can talk about Gobbles. Like
Okay, yeah.
asshole. Anyway,
That's why we keep you around. You're amusing. And it
Well,
makes
it's like
me feel
earlier
better
when-
that there's stuff you can't remember.
Well, and the fact
when I
that-
can't remember pinball machine.
The fact that my gravy is so good that it seeps into your unconscious.
right?
makes
My brain's
me
just
happy.
making up reasons. Like, yeah, no.
Oh yeah.
You should go have some more of that.
That's how you defeat the
gravy.
Nazis. Lots of gravy. Get another one of those wine rolls.
So
That was
remember
good,
that
too.
gobble guy? You should go get more gravy.
It was like earlier when Risen was talking about, wow, there's a lot of.
I
dead
just want you
people
to
in the
know when
news.
you tease me like this, I'm not going to respond as well as he's responding. So
It's only fair. I have to. If I'm going to be the level of asshole I am and talk all of the shit all of the times and say exactly what wasn't appropriate most of the time.
So what's up next?
More dead people, probably.
So do we want to go into some of my? Because I got a lot of crazy
Yeah,
shit.
What you got?
All right, so let's start with this Durham, North Carolina mall shooting.
Ooh, like me.
3 wounded during Black Friday shooting, including a 10-year-old hit with a ricochet bullet. 3 others injured without being shot. No comment from officers about how the others were injured.
By running into planters as they were trying to get away.
Shooting was between 2 groups that knew each other. The incident is said it is not to be related to shopping.
That's more than I knew. So
Yeah, no, when I had this, it was the 3 dead at North Carolina Mall.
yeah.
Yeah, this doesn't say dead. There was no dead, just wounded.
Yeah, I don't know. If you're
Was
shot, I
this the
just
one
assume you're
that
dead.
you were telling me about where there was a stampede or whatever?
I'm
people
assuming. I
trying
didn't
to
read
get
the
out?
article.
Yeah.
I just said, because the headline was 3 shot during stampede or something like that. And like,
Yeah.
I think the stampede probably happened sometime after the
After
shooting.
the first shot anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
no, and that makes perfect sense, right? As we fall ever further from modernity, you're going to see this, right? Armed groups will encounter each other, and yeah. And we've definitely pushed hard enough on the fact that the social contract is dead that why on earth should the fact that they're in a packed-ass mall affect the fact that we are going to have infantry games right here, right now?
Yeah.
So, talking about shooters, do we want to talk about Matt Gaetz
with
introducing
you and all
that
the
new
shooting?
law?
I love this. It's very seldom I agree with Matt Gaetz.
Oh, shit.
He wants a national stand your ground law. First of all, it won't have any effect
That's
because
true.
the shootings are prosecuted at the state level.
Unless you're
Very
shooting them
few
at a
shootings.
post office, a military install, like federal,
Yeah.
like land is, it's less hard to find out here, but you'd also have to drive for a while to get to some BLM land.
So anyhow, almost a mile. Anyway, no, but I absolutely. He's not going to like the law that should be written.
No, nor is he going to write that law.
But I am perfectly happy to see that codified in a sensible way, right? Which includes the duty to attempt to retreat.
That's not at all
Right.
what Stand Your Ground is. In fact, Stand Your Ground was
I know.
literally designed because of that law.
Right.
It's a way to reinforce the castle doctrine,
Mm-hmm.
which was a perfectly fine set of rules, but
Yep.
no, duty to retreat is not a good idea. Well, duty to retreat is half the problem in this conversation. Because no, everybody's got one example out of crazy ass California. It's like the dude who fell through the skylight and got cut and shit and managed to sue the homeowner. So, anyway, you were saying.
No, I think you have a duty to attempt to de-escalate the situation if that's possible.
I think you have a duty not
After
to
that,
escalate it.
If you are facing an immediate threat, I got no heartburn with your using a weapon to stop the threat.
Well,
Yeah,
and
so-
one of the
But that's
one
not
of the
what Stand Your Ground is. It's
I know,
articulable
but
threat.
that's why I want to see the law written, and Matt Gaetz is going to be really unhappy
Yeah.
with the result.
one of
So-
the main problems we've seen with a lot of these recent shootings, right, that have happened, is people allowing, when they have a weapon like a gun, allowing whoever they're arguing with or whatever the case may be, to get too
Too
fucking
close.
close to them.
to get close enough to think they can get a handle on the weapon.
You need to be more than 20 feet away if you are holding a weapon.
So what do you do when they start to close
sounds-
the distance?
Back up.
You back the fuck up.
Okay,
Yes.
fine.
You need to
And
keep
I think
your
there you
distance.
satisfied any duty to
Oh, yeah.
retreat.
No,
Right, and if they continue to close on you, at some point you say halt.
Well, I think you tell them before you pull your gun, don't come any closer. I think they take a step forward, you take a step back, you pull your gun, have it low ready, and say, don't come any closer, I'll shoot.
I'm of the school of thought that says if you draw it, point it. We've hit that stage.
I agree, but I feel like
Oh yeah, no.
these people are letting people get too close.
Yeah.
People
Oh,
are
yeah.
grabbing guns.
Yep.
If somebody's grabbed your gun, you fucked up as a gun owner.
Yep.
You've
for
already let people
But that should not
get
prevent
too
you from
close.
using it to end the conversation.
Oh no, I'm not saying it should. What
Okay.
I'm saying is that you already fucked up.
Yes.
You let them get too close to you.
Yeah.
You should have shot them
Yeah.
long before that.
You decided to make this a tactical problem and then threw your hands up and said the homework's hard and didn't control the room. I have no sympathy so fast.
Yeah. On the other hand, that doesn't make it your fault.
It does make you the adult in the room.
Peace.
So it has to run smoothly. Like at some level, it really is like how I view all other adults handling children in a room at that point. Of as long as it stays below a certain number of decibels, I actually don't care. I mean, I use your guns to be good to each other, the internet, but no, I object to it just because it's like when the Democrats were running around going, "We need a domestic terrorism law." I'm like, why do you want federal charges on our guys?
Yep. Because
So-
that's exactly where it
Yeah,
would go.
and that's where the stand your ground is going to be used. It's going to be used. I'm trying to think of one of the bad ones because what comes to my head right now are the handful of like, fuck, that's annoying, but a good one. No, I don't have any. Oh, the guy, like half of the times there's a conversation over the volume of music when I think it's actually the problem is the genre of music, but
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, and this directly goes into the Texas man that picks a fight with his ex-wife's new partner and then gets shot.
yeah.
Like, don't fucking pick fights with people, first of all. Second of all, if you pull out that gun, you know, again,
Don't close on a person who is legally holding a weapon on his own property telling you to leave.
yeah.
So,
especially in Texas where they have pretty broad brandishing laws. When I was looking today.
And what I don't understand with a lot of these, situations is as soon as someone pulls a gun on you, the first thing you should do, hands up and slowly start backing away, get to cover, and then call 911 and let the cops sort it out.
Especially
walk
if you know it's
away.
all on video.
Because if they're the one holding the gun, guess what? You're not going to be the one that gets shot when the cops show up. Especially if you're ducked down behind a car or behind a tree or wherever.
And that was what I saw when I watched the video, was someone who was making this very aggressive and was very fine being intimidating until that didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
And it escalated like all things. It got out of control so very fast. And it fits, I've got a thing, and it loosely fits in with someone in the video starts saying, call the police.
yeah.
When you hear that, you are within single digits of seconds before it's about to all come apart.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you need to be getting to cover or moving away. It's like we talked earlier about the crowd dynamics. When people are bumping into you, you have
time to
about
leave.
enough time from when the first time someone says, call the cops, that you should just be a shadow
You should be
and
backing
gone.
away. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever you were doing there is over. You should probably leave before you get involved in something dumber.
Yep. Especially when you're standing on somebody else's property and he's armed.
Yeah.
So, anyhow.
And it was that's not even how you disarm people. Like, I've got technical like complaints about it beyond the legal stuff, but
Right.
just be nicer to each other.
Well, and here's the problem with these. Here's another problem with these gunfights is so on Thanksgiving Day, so yesterday for us, Thursday for you guys, a man eating dinner with his family in Pennsylvania was killed by a stray bullet.
Oh shit!
Officers report the family of the victim, I practiced trying to say this name and I thought I had it down, and now my brain's just like, nope, you're on air. You can't pronounce anything anymore. You're welcome.
So, we don't need his name. What happened?
Eddie Alberto Miguel Palaez.
Okay.
Anyway, so him and his family were not involved in the argument outside of the house that triggered the shooting. The suspect, who is still at large, is said to have been involved in an argument with his family over missing booze. Two other men were also seen fleeing the area, and police are looking to question them as well. But fucking
Alcohol and firearms, internet, not a good combination.
first of all, like this is why, because this random dude who was literally sitting at dinner with his fucking family in his own house.
Well, let's go through so much.
Well, and it went through a window,
Yeah.
and it hit him in the torso, and he died. And
Unless it was a brick building, it's likely whatever. If it had hit the wall, it would have gone through.
oh, for sure. But my point is that when you have a gun, you first of all need to know where are you shooting, who are you shooting at, why are you shooting at them, and what is your background.
Yeah.
People don't pay attention to the background. That one guy that we just talked about, the Texas man, he could have shot. There was a woman at the door behind the guy he shot. And if he had had a stronger gun with stronger penetration, he would have shot that person too.
Yeah, it looked like a modern variant of the Thompson.
So, I mean, maybe he knew that his gun didn't have the penetration power, and good for him if he did. But if he did not know these things and he made this decision, then this could have gone horribly wrong. Not saying that it didn't, but again, this guy deserved to be shot. You don't approach a dude and try to start a fight.
Subsonic and low power rounds for home defense, the internet.
Yeah.
Just you got to be paying attention to your surroundings. If you're in an urban area, don't just shoot straight. You want to go at a downward angle if you can.
But
you want that to go into the dirt as
Think
soon as
about
it's
your
gonna.
background.
Yeah.
Anyway, as somebody at the table said, the news is kind of turning into like every night it's a reverse yearbook.
Yeah.
Right?
Who's not
Here's
going to
the
be
list
at
of
breakfast?
people who aren't going to make it to breakfast.
Yeah.
So, internet, quit shooting each other.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
just don't. There's no reason for it.
Murder is rarely the wittiest comeback.
Right. So here's a funny story to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. Hayden, Alabama's sheriff is now trying to figure out how 300 to 400 FedEx packages ended up in a ravine.
I know.
The packages seemed to be randomly strewn about the forest. They had FedEx come and pick them up and try to get them where they belong.
Yep.
But what?
You people have pain in the ass driveways and live way out of town. Turns out that ravine is closer than you people.
Right.
Or you've been annoying.
The other possibility is that they were going through the packages and throwing the ones they didn't want down the hill and taking the ones that obviously had electronics or whatever.
So somebody who works for FedEx potentially quit, because these were all FedEx packages, potentially was quitting that day or whatever. But again, how are you going to sort through packages without opening them? These weren't opened.
No, but you can tell brands.
Yeah.
So keep all the Panasonic stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I agree. These usually tend to be something on the order of that. Usually this is, right, when it's postal people, usually you find the garage full of stuff.
Yeah.
That they were just going home at the end of the day and dumping their bag out, because you're not going to report the thing you don't know you didn't get. Packages are a bad plan. Someone's looking for those.
No, there was a case years and years and years ago of a postal carrier who was discovered to have like 7 tons of junk mail in his basement.
Oh, yes.
He had just decided not to deliver junk mail to his patrons.
Oh.
And I'm sorry, but my reaction to that was, can he be my postal carrier?
Yeah, well played, buddy.
Anyway.
Well,
And
again,
I
the
I think
smarter,
they fired him for it.
Surprising to have kept it.
yeah, I think the smarter version would have been to burn it.
I think he was probably, at least in the beginning, concerned about it is a not fucking around federal felony to intercept people's mail. So, if he had it, right, destroying their mail is extra charges.
Yeah.
Prove that he was
I
the
know,
one
that
to
it was-
destroy it.
Don't do crimes, the internet.
But there's smarter ways to do things. I
yeah,
feel like, and it's funny when we stumble
Also, don't
across.
send junk mail.
Yeah, it's funny when we stumble across this stuff, and you're just like, "This is how I would have done this." Like, what? I don't know.
I am not criminally minded, so I don't know what you're on about. But
So,
I've
post
never been in
office, you
trouble
were
with the
looking for a way to generate some more money. I got one for you. Is that you will sort my mail, and you won't ever deliver anything that says to such and such an address or current
dear
occupant.
consumer,
Yeah, if it says "or current occupant," that's junk
Yeah,
mail.
that's right. Just shred
Fuck
it.
that shit.
Yeah.
Right? I'd even pay that.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, did you have something else you wanted to say about it?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to Trump helping the rich get richer while he was in office.
Oh yeah. Well, you remember that one of the things Trump campaigned on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where are the exact words? That everything he did would benefit the forgotten men and women of America,
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
and
God,
it was
that's
just a
something good.
con,
Yes,
right?
it's a con when anybody says it.
Yep. So the million and up folks, yeah, their salary increased by $305,000
Yeah,
a year.
because they needed that.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
And that explains
Yeah,
why
but
he
they
was
were
so
willing to pay to get
whatever
it.
about giving the rest of us who needed the money anything to help.
No, that's the problem I hear few enough people talking about when they're like, well, we should get the money out of politics. Cool, but we're also talking about a class that has enough money that they will spend half of it to win.
Keep the rest of it. Yeah.
So you're going to have to work to get the money out. But right now, the government's owned and operated by the ultra-rich. And
has
this
been
million
for
and
a
up
while.
group, the bottom 90% of that, they're just riding along on the rich making their deal better, right? And anyway, it's idiotic. So the other thing that happened was that the share of all pay going to that group went up by a quarter.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Right? So here we are making lots and lots and lots of money, and who are we giving it to? Yeah,
The people on the top.
the
Yeah.
people on the top. So,
Well, you got to keep the rich rich
yep,
and even richer if possible, because
Yep.
if that dude above me gets richer, that means I'm going to get
I know.
richer too.
yep, which wasn't true. So, in fact, it wildly wasn't true if you take into account inflation. So keep it up, right? Right, Trump voters, if you're making less than $1 million a year, you're voting for the wrong guy.
Well, and I would love to see whatever on how many people are Republicans that actually make over 400,000 a year, that puts them in that top 1%. And you're even talking about the top, like half of the top 1%.
The
I'm
top
talking
1% of the 1% is
Yeah.
the kind of cackling rich you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most of your 1%ers are doctors, architects.
Right, but my point is that, and this is what I've said before, is that I feel like 480,000 a year is low. The fact that to make
Oh, yes.
480,000 a year puts you in the top 1%, that tells you exactly how fucked up the system is,
Yeah, no,
right?
that was Reagan's tax change. He got rid of the top tax bracket.
Right.
Yep, and the whole intent there was that if you couldn't segregate the super
Architect
high earners
from the
right,
hedge
from the
funders.
ultra rich, that they'd have to have the same bracket, and you didn't want to hurt the lawyers and the architects and the doctors and so on.
Yeah, the real
So-
American success stories, kids who
Yeah.
actually it worked out for them.
Yeah. So anyway, and just on that same thing, if Amazon gave a $690,000 bonus to each of its 1.3 million workers, they'd have the same income they had last year.
Yeah.
So the delta was enough to give each and every one of their workers $750,000. Well, $2/3
Yep. No,
You know
somewhere
where
along
it
the
went?
lines. Somewhere
Yeah.
along the lines, we unshackled the leadership of corporations, or we shackled them only to the interest of the shareholder class.
Yeah.
They have no interest in the company, which is insane, but that's also how you get the real crazy Enrons, the MCIs,
Oh, sure.
the real pump and dump looking, like, let's get all of the cancer in one spot
Yep.
and run away before it all comes down.
So anyway, it gets worse every year. And it was really good this last couple of years because they had the, if you look at the Trump's, rescue plan, right, that was laid out so that the big companies and rich folks would get all the money. And they did.
Well, and worse, the
Every
people
dollar.
that noticed
Yeah.
Well,
their tax cuts expired.
so
Yep.
36% of Republicans make under 15,000 a year.
Jesus.
So that's still a reasonable amount, but that's not a lot when you look at.
Did you say 15,000 a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's way below the poverty
No.
line.
I'm saying the percentage is.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable percentage.
A third of Republicans make $15,000.
Just
a year
over
or
a
less.
third of Republicans. So that's pretty large.
That's your working class kids.
Yeah.
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 But 63% of them make over 200,000. So the rest is somewhere in between.
Yeah.
And these are numbers I quickly found from debt.org, and I'll have to see if they're
Yeah.
reliable or this makes any sense. But
Again, if you're making less than $1 million a year and you're voting Trump,
You're
you're
fucking up.
screwing yourself.
Yeah.
hold the power.
Which is fine with me, but I
And
wish you wouldn't, and you're wrecking the country besides that.
Yeah.
I do wish our side would do get up on its hind legs and do something
That'd be
reminded
nice.
people why it's worth voting for.
So, Democrats, $20 an hour minimum wage on every single state ballot.
Whenever you get
There
asked
you
a
go.
question, just give an answer on minimum wage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't talk about any of the other things.
Talk
So
about
what
how
are your
many
feelings on
Americans.
climate change? Well, I really think that we should have a $20 minimum wage. What does that have to do with climate change? It has to do with minimum wage, which is what we really need to talk about. It's the only thing I care about, minimum wage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So push that, people,
No,
because it's going to go a lot farther than you think.
As you put people under stress, they lose the ability to empathize with others because they are task saturated.
Yep.
And
Well-
it is a survival advantage.
Well,
And
and
so now you get the folks making 15,000 a year, right, who have an infinitely long loan on
Yeah.
their pick-em-up truck, their diesel pick-em-up truck, and they tune it to roll coal,
Yep.
right? Because they're trying to show how much they don't care,
right.
Yes.
and which is perfectly understandable
But-
if you look at their lives.
But
Yeah.
one thing that we have seen is stories of, a lot more Republicans than we think are actually all about raising the minimum wage. They don't necessarily say it out loud, but we've heard stories of Trumpies and such
Oh, yeah.
walking by protests and joining in because they're like, yeah, we should rise the
Yeah.
minimum wage. That
Well,
should be a
and
thing.
the
Let's do
folks
that.
who were just above minimum wage will tell you, well, why should McDonald's make more than
That's-
me? And first of all, it won't be more because minimum wage is across the board. And second,
Mm-hmm.
you have a skill, right?
So your wage will go
Your
up too.
wage will go up. It rides on top of the minimum wage,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you're really worried about it, go form a union.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And keep it from being scumbaggery.
Yeah.
Well, and that takes constant
closely.
work, same
Yeah.
as any other.
Yeah.
I'll say it to the Democrats: we need to clean up some scumbaggery in our party. Nothing like as much as the Republicans, but
I'm going to tell you,
we need some
eventually,
cleanup.
once we sort out the major problems of minimum wage and universal health care, we need to get at these monopolies and we need to break them down again because it's been a long time since we've done
Yes.
that and it needs to fucking happen again.
that will also
Amazon
require
needs
the
to get
passing of
split
new
up.
laws.
A bunch of other companies need to get split up.
Because as presently there's a reason Amazon is the shape it is. Vertical integration is not a monopoly. I mean, it is at the level we're doing this. Plus, plenty of places, right? Again, I know we brought up cable companies. Duopolies are even harder, right? It's like point shaving. They're hiding in the places it's hard to spot them.
What
Yeah.
is a duopoly?
Where there's two companies that control all the thing, Coke and Pepsi, things like that.
right.
Because then they do compete, don't you see? And problem is, they don't
don't.
actually have to. They agree on what the set price is. That's why soda prices are fairly sticky.
Yeah.
Fair. So speaking of ruining the country, Lauren Boebert,
Bobert, I think.
Is backtracking after a xenophobic comment that brings broad criticism. She posted a video suggesting that Ilhan Omar, a Muslim and fellow Congress member, could be a suicide bomber.
Yep.
Yeah.
About the nervous cop, and it's okay. She doesn't have a backpack.
Yep.
Oh yeah, no, that was
Which
None of
not
which
even how
was true.
suicide bombers deliver suicide
just-
bombs. And yeah,
well, and I'm sure she made up the cop story.
no,
She made up everything.
yeah.
There's no truth to any of it.
And I don't know, because my dude David Pakman did a thing on this today, and I watched the whole thing, and he was like, I don't even know if she's doing stand up or what. Like
Yeah.
nobody even understands what this is or was or
Oh
supposed
yeah.
to be.
Everyone she's
So-
talking to understood exactly.
Yep. She's talking to her base.
Yeah, no, it was pretty crazy.
So.
But so for my final story tonight, this is kind of a yay and kind of a oh fuck, but kind of a yay again. So bear with the roller coaster.
Like, comment, and subscribe for emotional roller coasters and a list of things you should put in your suicide note. Don't do suicide to the internet.
Risen told me too much bullshit.
Risen's kind of a bummer.
Life
Was that right?
sucks.
All right.
We're all gonna die. So, Kevin Strickland was wrongfully accused of triple murder 43 years ago. I think he was 16 at the time. He was finally released from Missouri prison and will not receive state compensation due to a shitty, outdated law stating that only people exonerated by DNA a specific way, right? Not just by DNA, but a specific thing, can receive compensation. So, fuck.
43 years gone, nothing to show for it.
Well, and not only that, but like, he was a kid when he went in, and now he's in a fucking wheelchair. I don't know what happened, but somehow during his incarceration, he lost use of his legs, became paraplegic, whatever. And so his whole life has been inside. and he's been released with literally nothing. Like, I'm sure, like, the clothes that he came in with, right, were probably rotted somewhere and whatever. It don't fit him anymore.
Typically, they give them
you have to get them shipped home.
one set of clothes.
But no, I don't even think they were. I think that his family had to ship him something.
And your clothes
again,
will be shipped home.
They took his wheelchair. They didn't even let him keep that.
That's a jail wheelchair.
So, like, just disgusting, right? Yeah. And it's a black man. Of course it's a black man. But a GoFundMe was started by the Midwest Innocent Project over the summer and has now hit $1.1 million. And this will go a long way to help him finally begin to live his life. But this is not money that people should have had to donate. Give.
I agree.
And some people, lots of people apparently were donating up to $5,000.
Wow.
So we're talking higher people, higher earners were actually like, this is not okay. Here's some fucking money, buddy. And the original price that they were looking for was $7,500. So just enough to get him back on his feet. Yeah. You know what I mean? And give him a chance to get started. And it very quickly went over that. And
excellent.
Now they're expecting to get over 1.2, maybe 1.5 million by the time this is said and done. But
what state was it?
Missouri.
So good on America and screw Missouri.
Yeah, so definitely if you want to help out, look up Kevin Strickland GoFundMe, and please donate. I mean, this poor man, I can't even imagine. He did not commit this crime, and what happened is he's always maintained his innocence, but he got railroaded by the system, right? And there was prosecutorial issues, like the whole thing. Like, it was
the police told the only living witness to pick Strickland out of the lineup, it would all be okay. It would all go away.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's aggressively not okay. And I feel like everyone who's involved in this, if they're not, I mean, they're probably none of them are still working there, but he should be able to sue them. But from what I've read, he can't. Nope. And there's nothing he can do to become whole again. And this GoFundMe, sure, is going to help. But this isn't how this should have to happen.
His first try ended in a mistrial when the only black juror wouldn't vote to convict. And so the prosecutor is said to have gone up to his lawyer and says, don't worry, I'll take care of this next time. Used all of the preemptive challenges to make sure it was an all-white jury.
Yeah. So
just
typical.
The two people who did it admitted that they did it, and they served less than 10 years.
Yeah, so...
They also said this guy wasn't involved.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So they got convicted of this crime, and they even said,
I don't know if you had that part.
No, I didn't. And they even said that he had nothing to do with it, and they left him in jail.
Yeah. 43
years. And they only got 10. That's crazy. Were they white?
But his GoFundMe is over $1 million.
Yeah, but honestly, it should. I mean, the state, right? The state should be, first of all, paying him like 2.6 if you base it off other nearby states who have laws that pay people for this. But I think what he should have been receiving was somewhere in the range of 2.6 million.
Okay. Well, let it roll. Maybe this one will make it.
I hope so. And you know what? Like, it bothers me because this money should be coming from the state, not from good, generous people. And good job, you generous people. I appreciate seeing this happen, but the state should take responsibility for this, and this is disgusting to me.
Totally agree. Way to go, America.
Yeah.
Over $1 million. This is good.
Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
End it on a happy thing.
Yeah. No, I think this is great, but this is part of what we need to help fix, and part of the way to help fix it is by making sure this man gets the money he deserves and needs, right? This isn't just he deserves this money. This is he fucking needs it, or he's not going to be able to live. So it's not a want, it's a need, and just crazy. But
way to go, America!
Good job, people, and keep it up.
Yep,
keep
absolutely.
It up. And when
he's part way to the ability to retire.
Yeah. And when you see these types of things, keep an eye on, especially the Innocence Project. There's a couple of them. This one was the Midwest Innocent Project. I have in the past donated money to I think I was in New Hampshire, so it was probably like the New England or something
Whatever,
like that.
yeah.
But it was an Innocence Project,
Yep.
and it's worth it. It's worth everybody. It gets people who are in jail, black, white, whatever, out. So it helps everybody, and it's good things. So, when you see stories like this, if you can kick them $5, just fucking do it, because this is disgusting but wonderful, right? This
Yes.
is the roller coaster.
Right.
Anyone who was alive in 1979, would you have taken $300,000 to go to jail?
For how long?
40 odd years?
No.
Yeah. I just find it interesting that they gave him, right, in 1979 dollars, $300,000 worth of settlement. And I think they did more than that damage.
Yeah.
So, no,
Just dumb.
Yep.
But good job, America. Keep up the good work. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to discuss?
not that I can think of.
So
We'll try to come back with the doomsday vehicle.
Yep.
we're gonna cover that some more. Sounds
Well, we'll
good to
try
me.
it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So again, we love y'all. Remember, we are all human beings, and we need to be more understanding and caring of each other. It's not each other we're mad at, and that's for Democrats and Republicans. It is these, ultra rich, the top 0.01%.
The people that can afford to buy both parties and have.
Right.
Yeah. And this is not okay.
And their handmaidens in Congress.
Yeah, and the only way to fight these people is by loving each other and not shooting each other. So we love you all, and just be good.
Yeah.
And we'll see you back here tomorrow night on Boomer Rex Tonight.
Good night, the interwebs.